Welcome to Beauty Times Medicine, Galderma's podcast and video series where we explore how science and innovation are transforming skin health for consumers and patients around the world. Today, we're joined by Dr. Doris Day, a renowned dermatologist, author, and educator with over 25 years of experience in cosmetic, laser, and surgical dermatology. Based in New York City, she has helped shape the field through her expertise in skin health, aging, and aesthetic treatments, particularly in guiding patients through the evolving needs of their skin at every stage of life. She's also a sought-after speaker, media expert, and the author of several books on skincare and beauty. Dr. Day, welcome to Beauty Times Medicine.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for that beautiful introduction.
So I read your biography and was a little bit surprised to read that you studied English and journalism before you shifted to medicine. Isn't that a little bit of an unusual path, or what drove you then to dermatology after that?
I think it's more unusual than it should be, because in medicine, our goal should be to get the scoop from our patient, to hear their story and to understand what they're going through in their world, because we're not just technicians, we're really healers. And to have an effect on someone, you have to be able to know their story and get to know them. And for me, my story and becoming a writer was really around going through events in my family. Everybody is a doctor in my family, so I got the medicine side and the passion for it from my family and from my father. But then in my teenage years, I lost my sister to cancer. And in seeing her go through that process and seeing how I was left out of that whole process and how much she suffered, it was so confusing. And I felt a really important part of being a doctor was to be able to keep the whole family together, to help the patients understand what they're going through and what this process was, and help them through their journey, not just try to make them better in how they look, but actually make everything better. And I see this in dermatology, how I communicate to my patients what to expect from the treatment, what I can do, what I can't do, and how what they see on the surface is affected by what's going on within is so powerful. And when they get the connection, they don't just look better, but they are better.
But it's also probably obvious that with your journalism aspirations, you quickly got to storytelling and media, and we'll talk about that a bit later. But why aesthetic medicine? No, many other areas, cancer, you mentioned, there could be many other areas you could have gone into.
So I always knew I wanted to be a doctor, but I also knew that I had to be a good communicator to be a good doctor. When I started in 1998, there really weren't aesthetics. But as little things trickled in, I got to be part of the Restylane approval for the FDA trial. So it's sort of life just pushed me in these directions. Then I started doing it. Patients demanded more. And then I met more doctors who were doing it.
And how do they know that you were interested in aesthetics? Or was it word of mouth that if I go to Dr. Day, maybe she's interested in aesthetics? So how did it roll out?
Yeah, it's all word of mouth. I think word of mouth is the best way. But I use aesthetics as a means to help my patients live a healthier, better life. I teach them good facial posture. I taught them about skincare and sun protection and quitting smoking and other lifestyle things that can make a difference. So I think aesthetics is my entry point, but in the end, I'm the same doctor. I still want my patients to be healthy and to live long and happy lives.
I've also been informed that you are really an expert on the perimenopause, what happens, because a lot of things happening in that phase of life, skin elasticity, many other things. How did you get interested in that change in life?
I found myself in that same position, and I found that nobody understood it, that I was experiencing these changes, and I was just told, oh, it's just part of life. Then I started reading the data on the studies around hormone replacement. The investigative journalist in me sort of came through and said, how are women so misguided at this time of their life? And why do we not understand what perimenopause is, what menopause is, and how to help women through this?
So do patients come to you and say, hey, I have some menopausal symptoms and my skin is really not looking the way I would like it to? Or
I tell them.
Oh, you tell them?
Yeah, I tell them. They put together their symptoms. They come in and they say, I'm breaking out like a teenager, or I'm dry, or my skin is itchy, or my ears are itchy. My tolerance for things is so much lower, and my joints ache a little bit, and I can't remember things as well as I used to. And yeah, my periods are a little bit off. And then the biggest thing that they say is, one day my face just fell apart. I help them understand that when you put all these symptoms together, this is a sign that you're in perimenopause. And while I can help the skin, there's so much more I could do. And the more I saw this and how people would come back in and say, my doctor says it's fine, my labs are fine. Perimenopause is not about lab tests. It's about symptoms and managing those symptoms.
So I think are there simple things that you can do to guide it? Of course, aesthetic treatment could be one option, but are there other things that you tell your patient to think about when they go through that?
Yeah, for sure. And this is the best part of it, is that as an aesthetic dermatologist, I will make them a calendar. I will say, these are the treatments we need to do, devices for skin tightening and lifting, products that you need to be using, injectables that we can do. We're going to make a calendar to help you navigate this time, and I'm going to connect you with a great functional medicine doctor, a great GYN. These are diet things. These are supplements that I recommend that you take, that I've studied and I can list for them and prescribe, or offer them links to go research more. But I will connect them to a network of my trusted physicians, so that as I do their treatments, I want them to look good and last long.
Like in those treatments, do you also, I know that, biostimulatory product like Sculptra, is that also important?
It is really a hot topic right now around Sculptra. What I've seen is that my Sculptra patients are my happiest patients. Their skin quality is better, they age better, and around perimenopause, we can biostimulate beautifully. And it's not that I do it by itself, it's that I combine it with other fillers and products that can help contour, help that canvas of the background stay strong, so that as I contour, they're going to age beautifully, and they're really happy. And we combine.
You even coined a term like authentic beauty, or
yes,
yeah.
It's authentic beauty that ages with you in a beautiful way. And when I combine Sculptra with ultrasound devices that tighten, I find the Sculptra stays better for longer.
Are there other things in addition to biostimulatory products, or other things you're doing? What else are you talking about?
Definitely, I start adding in supplements. We have to work on protein, because we break down muscle more than we build it up. We break down collagen more than we build it up. So we're in this phase where we have to work harder for the same benefits. Our fat distribution changes a little bit. Now, some of these changes, we can learn to live with and adapt and find our different clothing styles, but resistance training becomes more important. I tell them to take creatine monohydrate, make sure their vitamin D levels are okay. We add in D with K2. We add magnesium glycinate at bedtime or in the morning, whatever is easier for them. Magnesium L-threonate to sleep for sure. So I have a list of supplements, omega-3s, that are really important that we add together. And one of the things I really focus on is the skin microbiome, because one of the things that happens with age and around perimenopause is that your skin biome becomes less diverse, and those microorganisms in your skin help you age better. So a lot of areas where we never used to focus, we're now really prioritizing, and I protect the skin microbiome.
But when they go through your treatment, take your advice, all of the health, do they then also feel better?
They absolutely do. It helps, but sometimes you need support. So a couple of other things I look at is sex. And a lot of women at this phase of their life just have less desire for it. So now I'm not just working on the hallmarks of aging, but I'm looking at the master regulator of the hallmarks of aging. It's lifestyle, it's treatments, it's diet, it's exercise, it's combination of all these things. And you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be good most of the time.
Another phase of life is puberty. So some people think that, oh, acne, that's only something that happens in puberty. But I think you've also said, no, there's also acne in adults. Is that very different? Does it need to be treated differently? Or is that also something you take care of?
Acne in puberty is definitely part of your evolution of growing up, and it can have a huge impact. And one thing I've observed is that acne scarring that looks mild and almost imperceptible in your teens and 20s looks deep when you hit your 40s and you start to have a decline and breakdown of your collagen. So I'm much more aggressive about treating acne in my younger patients and treating the acne scarring when they're younger and they can remake the collagen than waiting till they're older and now they really look like they had bad acne as a teen. So yes, we have to be aggressive. And that's where I really work on the skin microbiome, because I think in those teenage years, that dysbiosis is a big driver of acne. So I'm not looking to give everybody antibiotics and eradicate all the C. acne bacteria in the skin. I look to rebalance it. So I work a lot with skin probiotics to help with that, and gut probiotics. As you get older, I think that the diet contributes a lot, and leaky gut contributes a lot to acne, and it can be hormonal acne and signs of PCOS, which we're seeing more than we ever did before. Now, around perimenopause is another time when acne can flare, which is because of the hormonal roller coaster. And a lot of women come in and they say, well, my hormone levels are all normal. So I call it a hormonal hypersensitivity, where you may have normal hormone levels in the blood, but either we're measuring the wrong hormones or the wrong scale. Because hormones are in nanometers, and a little bit off can make a big difference in your skin. And it can also be the receptors, not just the amount of hormones you have. So we have to look at diet and acne more than we ever did before, and going more towards a keto diet seems to help. More antioxidants, and then looking at their skincare and seeing if they're using the wrong products, and it's mimicking acne, but not exactly acne.
What's the next thing in dermatology? Is that more an integrated holistic approach, or it's a new treatment? So
the things that I see that I'm really excited about is the idea of what you call a holistic approach, in the sense that we look at bioregenerative stimulators, that we take the understanding we have of the products that we've had available now for 25, 30 years, and look at our history with them. What are they doing in the skin? How are they changing the trajectory of how the face ages? Now we know we have superficial and deep fat pads, and we're looking at anatomy so differently and rediscovering why the blood vessels matter, why the distribution matters, what the commonalities are of the processes we see in aging, what the vectors are, and we can learn to be more nuanced and finessed about how we address them. We can really help redirect the aging process and help people look like the best version of themselves and always look beautiful at every age.
So whether you talk about scarring in acne patients or you talk about changes in perimenopause, it seems like aesthetic medicine is in over that and a common denominator, more or less. Is that true?
Yeah, and one of my biggest goals is to help women understand that it isn't about looking young, it's about looking youthful. It isn't about getting rid of every line and wrinkle, it's about looking beautiful. And I think that when you hit peri and postmenopause, you hit those ages, they truly can be your most beautiful years, as long as we separate out the idea that we're gonna try to look 20 again.
I really appreciate all the insights you've given us, Dr. Day. It's been absolutely fascinating to have you on the show. Thank you so much. So thank you for joining us on Beauty Times Medicine. If you enjoyed this conversation and gained fresh insights, be sure to subscribe and follow us on Galderma's social media channels and Spotify now for more expert discussion. Join us next time as we continue advancing dermatology for every skin story.